Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drive Thru. I'm your host, Tony T. As we broadcast live here on Pig Dogs and Sports Chat Place YouTube channel and throughout social media. We'll get you out here well before the top of the hour. Give you guys enough time to get those bets in for the primetime games. And sometimes we get those 640 games in once in a while, too. So, before we do, the picks are delivered by professional handicappers over at Pig Dogs and Sports Chat Place. Let's take a peek at who's on the show with us here for today. All right, with us is Mitch. It's Wednesdays with Mitch. Chris Ruffolo. We got Sean Murphy. Dana will be signing about bottom of the hour. We had a late scratch from James, but I do have his pick, and we'll deliver it during the recap. Big Eye McMordie, and we've got Ninos, and here's how they'll line up for this evening. We got Ruffolo, Ninos, McMordie, Murphy, Lane, Mitch, and I will close this one out. We have day baseball, but we do have good games in primetime featured by Mets, Dodgers. We got double coverage on that Mets Dodger game. There's a lot more baseball for today. Of course, college football tomorrow, that big Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday games. Boy, we got a good slate of college football coming up. But let's get the show started here today. Let's go ahead and welcome in Chris Ruffolo. You'll find a part of the morning's crew every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Chris, what's happening?
Tony, may be back on mornings, but I will never forget my time here with you on the drive-through. My favorite 2 years in sports handicapping.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun with Chris, but now he's on with that morning show every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So we check him out there with Mitch. And, of course, he's also part of the video crew at night with those videos getting up there, about half of them. And the workload's going to start to increase now, Chris, with the football coming in.
Tony, it's one of those things where it's just like you see it coming, then you're not really ready for it. It hits you like a ton of bricks, but once you get into it, it's really not that bad.
All right, we got double coverage here on this Mets and Dodgers game. We've got a side in this one, and we also have a prop, and Chris coming in with a prop here in this one. Dodgers and Mets, MLB Network. We've been watching the pregame show. They're making a huge hoopla out of this one. Mets here minus 165, total 6.5.
We're making a huge hoopla of it too here on the drive-through, but I think for good reasons. It's a pretty good matchup, and you got Tyler Anderson for the Dodgers, and obviously Jacob deGrom for the New York Mets. Two pitchers that have been pitching very well, in their recent starts. Their last 7 starts, Tyler Anderson at 2.08 ERAs, allowed 1 run or less in 5 of those last 7 starts. And Jacob deGrom, obviously, we've seen his workload since returning to the Mets lineup. But I'm going to go with the Nerfy here. It's a little bit juicy, but it's a great play if you want to just get in and out or have it as a nice parlay piece for tonight's action. You look at what Jacob deGrom's done in his career against top Dodgers hitters. He's held Justin Turner to 2 for 22. His time against the Braves with Freddie Freeman, 15 for 63. Freeman is against deGrom. Max Muncy hitting just 2 for 10 against deGrom. Mookie Betts 1 for 5. And deGrom 5-0 to the Nerfy this season. He's only allowed 4 hits in 45 at bats. On the other side, Tyler Anderson still having a great year. 17-5 to the Nerfy, 9-3 to the Nerfy on the road. He's only given up 10 hits and 69 at bats. When you look at some of the top Mets hitters that fared against Anderson, smaller sample sizes, but still. Starling Marte 3 for 16, Mark Canha 2 for 10, Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor combined 0 for 10 against Anderson. And Lindor also just 1 for 16 over the last 7 days. I think this is one where we just get in and out in a quick first inning, quick scoreless first inning. I like the Nerfy in this one.
All right, we got Chris here with the Nerfy. No runs first inning. Dodgers Mets. It is, he said, minus 165, but it's just a first inning play, so we'll be in and out in this one. Yeah, of course, the Dodgers kept getting that victory here yesterday in this one. Of course, deGrom has just been, what do you say about deGrom here with the numbers he's put up has been amazing. And one thing to note here with the Mets is that they've also struggled of late here, hitting left-handers, but under 200 here over the past 10.
Yeah, that is something to take into account. And the thing I always also take into account when Jacob deGrom is pitching is what I like to call, and what I've become calling Jacob deGrom syndrome, where he can pitch as well as he wants, but it's a fact that how many times we've seen it where the Mets have given him no run support. And, well, when you don't get much run support, it's probably easy to cash these Nerfy bets as well. And it's not something that you necessarily see with the Dodgers, but again, when you also see the Dodgers at plus 140. So it's one of those things that you kind of just take all that into consideration. That's kind of how I ended up on the Nerfy in this one.
All right, we've also 2 pitchers, limited home runs, so you don't get that, 2 out, 2 strike home run. That screws it up for you. You know what I mean? We got Dodgers, Mets here, no runs first inning, minus 165. This one will have a start time here, top of the hour. It's over on MLB Network. All right, Chris, let's take a look over at Pig Dogs Premium. Good prime time slate tonight here on a Wednesday with a lot of day baseball, but still enough action here. What do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Well, Tony, I got Still got my $15 pick-off play up there. I think the 3-pack has gone off the board. We had some earlier action. But still, jump on board with that pick-off play. We hit it yesterday. We've hit 3 of our last 4 and trying to keep the momentum going. And, if you don't hop on something today, I recommend you do. But if you don't, hop on something long-term. Get some, the rest of the MLB card today, as well as some college football into the weekend. The week will still get you some of that as well. The month gets you into the NFL regular season. And the full year pass gets you full seasons of all the major sports for around $100 a month. Also pair me up with someone else's part of the 2-for-1 capper promotion. Still got some season passes up at Pick Dogs, as well as that YouTube and VIP premium pass. Those plays are $50 or $100 a month. You're getting plays every day from Mitch and I, and we've been on fire with those as well. So you hop on something long term, but also remember to use that promo code OG15 at Pick Dogs Premium. The last day to use it, but still tons of value at Pick Dogs. You just got to go over and check it out.
That's right, guys. Got to go with Chris Ruffolo over at Pick Dogs. We leave the NFL numbers up here from last season, coming off a really good NFL season. But tonight, 11 games remaining here on the Major League Baseball card as we got the Baltimore game starting here. Still 11 games. Of course, Chris does have his $15 premium play up there. Of course, credit guarantee means it must turn a profit or the amount you purchase is returned to you in cycles that you can use for more picks. So that's what credit guarantee means. On the individual plays, on the one-day passes. Long-term passes are not because they're sold already at lower prices. So Chris has that $15 premium play up here on the board going on, so good time to get on board. Of course, as Chris was mentioning, the long-term passes, good time to try Chris out with the 7-day all sports special. You have a lot of action here with Chris in the 7 days, all of his baseball, as well as college football. As we mentioned earlier, we got college football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So that will be covered within your 7-day all sports pass. Use the promo code OG15 at checkout. You'll knock off 15% off that price right now. Also, don't forget the 2-for-1 cap promotion. With that 7-day pass, you get a cent capper with the 2-for-1, even greater value there. All right, Chris, as always, great having you show. Have yourself a great evening. And of course, I know you contribute a lot with that morning shows and with the videos as well.
Yeah, tons of stuff going up at Pick Dogs. We'll have my baseball and college football videos going up shortly, as well as Mitch's videos, and of course Ron's rundown, Javon's parlay. Tons of content at Pick Dogs Premium, as well as all the live shows, like you mentioned, the drive-thru, obviously, Monday through Friday, our morning show. I think we're going to be doing a college football show. Just got to nail down the specifics about that as well. But yeah, tons of stuff at Pick Dogs, and going to keep doing it bigger and better.
Yeah, bigger and better, no doubt about that. All right, Chris, keep up the great work. We'll talk with you again next week.
Appreciate it, Tony. Have a good one.
You got it. Chris Ruffolo here on the drive-thru. Let's continue here on the coverage. Lots of baseball here on the board. James was not with us today, but we will get his pick for you during the recap. Let's continue on here. Let's go ahead and welcome in Ninos. You'll find over at Pick Dogs Premium. Also contributes to that weekend show, Saturdays and Sundays. Make sure you tune in those here. It's going to be football heavy now, 10 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday and Sundays there. Ninos is part there of the contributors. Al, what's happening?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Tom?
Doing great. All right, here we go, 8 Eastern. We got the White Sox here hosting the Royals. Boy, things have been struggling here for these White Sox. Him and their manager had to get some medical attention here. Hope he's all right. But anyway, the White Sox here, minus 200. Total sits 8.5.
Yes, they have been struggling, but we saw their offense come to life a little bit yesterday, even though they didn't manage to get the job done. And I think they keep their bats going tonight against Chris Bubic. No reason to think not here. Bubic has been getting hit hard most of his professional career. He hasn't posted good numbers since early on in the minors, but didn't do well in AAA either. But yeah, coming into this one, getting hit hard. He's been getting hit hard all season, so I don't see why the White Sox can't get to him. Although he does have some surprisingly good numbers against Eloy Jimenez, 17 at bats, 0 hits for Jimenez against him. So that's an interesting stat there. Hoping he gets his first hit against him tonight, though. And on the other side, the Royals, they haven't been playing too bad lately. And Lance Lynn, well, coming in, pitching pretty well his last couple of starts. But again, still has an ERA of 5 and on the season, and again, it's not been his best season, that's for sure. So I think they can get to him as well a little bit. And then later on in the game, I think the White Sox I do think they get to Bubic, and of course the Royals bullpen as well, which has a league worst 4.85 ERA. And, well, the White Sox bullpen, not much better than that. ERA over 4 as well for them on the season. So again, I see a lot of bad pitching tonight, and I'm not sure Lance Lynn keeps up his current form. I mean, I don't know how much longer he can, how many more good starts he's gotten him after seeing him early on this year. But again, I think we see plenty of runs in this one, and I'm going to take this game to go over the total here.
All right, now Ninos says go over the total here with this White Sox and Royals game. Yeah, I'm with you here. I was a little interested in how this didn't go. It's sitting at 8.5. It didn't get to that key number of 9, especially when you look at the pitchers for him here, and you look at both bullpens for me. You look at you mentioned the Royals bullpen. I look at the past 10 here with the White Sox approaching 5 ERA and the Royals 5.5. And of course, Lynn has had some struggles coming in off that injury, giving up almost 2 home runs per 9 innings, and of course so is Bubic getting in trouble with the walks. 11% walk rate, a whip of 1.7. Boy, that's almost 2 base runners allowed here per inning. And of course, also earlier indications out here with the weather is that it was going to be windy there in Chicago. I have to go back and refresh my screen because I know looking at the weather here, we saw about wind. This is just to show wind blowing 7 miles per hour out.
I saw it. It wasn't as hard as that when I saw it, but it was blowing out a little bit. I don't think we're going to need much wind to help these balls get out of the park tonight, but let's double check that real quick.
Yeah, let me double check. I was looking at another screen here, and I want to go back to that because I mentioned seeing that earlier.
Yeah.
What you got?
I think 5.5, yeah, but yeah.
All right. So it's a little less than it was. Actually, I'm still showing 7 miles per hour. It's going to hot weather here. 79 degrees, so we could see some balls flying here. White Sox, Royals over a total of 8.5 runs. This one to have a start time of 8 Eastern time. All right, now let's take a look over at Pick Dogs Premium here for tonight's action. 11 games still left on the board here for Major League Baseball. What do you have going over at Pick Dogs Premium?
I have quite a bit of action like this card tonight. I've still got a 3-pack out there if you want to check that out, and then got a couple different packages out there as well, and a couple extra plays for everyone on long-term passes. So make sure you grab one of those or the 2-for-1 capper specials.
That's right, guys. Got to go with Ninos over at Pick Dogs. Come for a nice day yesterday. Does have his 3-pack up there for you. 3 best bets here from Major League Baseball. He calls his Wednesday clutch 3-run home run. So get on board with that. Of course, credit guarantee. That means the package must show profit or the amount you purchase is credited back into your account for site credit. So that's how it works with the credit guarantees with the individual plays and the 3-packs, 1-day passes. Not so the long-term passes, seasonal passes, because they're sold already at a discount. So get on board with Ninos here with that 3-pack up on the board right now over at Pick Dogs. Or again, as we mentioned, the long-term pass sale has a 3, 7, or 3rd-day all sports pass. That 1-month pass will get you all of Al's plays for 1 month, 30 days. Included there would be all his baseball. Also in play would be college football for the next 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're getting into the 3rd-day pass here. Yeah, 4 weeks. NFL for 3 weeks. Because remember, NFL is just a week and a day away. A week from tomorrow, we got the Bills and the Rams going at it. And last check, the Bills were 2.5-point favorites. So you may consider that 1-month all sports pass. The AUG 15 promo here. We on August 31st, so you got to take action now. AUG 15 will save you 15% off. And don't forget that 2-for-1 cap promotion because you can pair Al with, let's say, with Mitch, with Chris. You can pair him off with Sean Murphy, Dana. There's truly James Clark. 2-for-1 cap promotion, your best value over at Pick Dogs. All right, Al, as always, great having your show. Keep up, have yourself a great evening, and we'll talk with you again tomorrow.
All right, Tony, how are we going?
We got Al Ninos here on the drive to. Let's continue on our coverage, guys. If you missed any of our picks, we're seeing people log in. We will do a complete recap here at the end of the show. James Clark was not able with us, but we do have his pick, and we will give you the pick during the recap. So let's continue on here with the show. Let's go ahead and welcome in out in balmy hot weather here in Southern California, man. We're going to get hit with triple digits, so keep an eye on some of those balls, some of those totals that are out here in SoCal this week, because we got a lot of hot weather coming in here, triple digits. Let's bring in Big Al McMordie. Big Al, how's it going?
Pretty good, and you're absolutely right, Tony. I was walking my dog earlier this afternoon. I couldn't believe how hot it was.
Yeah, we're looking at triples here for the entire week. So into Labor Day, but we went on the board here. Baseball Midwest at 6:40 Eastern. Reds here to host the Cardinals. Cardinals here at -230, total 9.5.
Yeah, St. Louis only scored 1 run last night. They lost 5-1 to the Reds, but that was the first time that St. Louis's offense went to sleep. In the previous 5 games, they had scored 35 runs or 7 runs a game. And I don't think they're going to have a problem scoring runs tonight because Cincinnati is going to trot out one of the worst pitchers in baseball, Mike Minor. He's 3-10 on the season with a 6.1 ERA and a 1.54 WHIP, and it's. I still don't understand why he's in the league, but we can take advantage of it and go against him all the time. His teams have gone 3-19 his last 22 starts. Admittedly, he did have a nice start his last time out, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, but that was against the Washington Nationals, and the Nationals have scored 3 runs or less in 7 of their last 8 games. So I think you can toss aside Minor's last start. I think he's going to revert to form today on Wednesday. And then you take a look at how St. Louis has done as a road favorite. They're 40-16, their last 56. They're 44-22, their last 66 versus lefties. When you add it all up, I think St. Louis bombs Cincinnati and Minor today. And I'm going to you can even take them on the run line here, -1.5 at -$1.50, or just take them on the money line at -230. Either way, I like St. Louis.
All right, Big Al. Run line. I didn't think you were much of a run line guy. I think we had talked about this before.
I'm usually not, but I did have my play today was a run line play on Milwaukee with Peralta. That was -1.5 runs at, I think, -$1.25 or so. Can't remember, but I like Peralta in that game, and they won 6-1. But most of the time I'm going to take it on the money line. But either way, I like St. Louis today.
And, of course, we see that a lot during this time of the year, right, when we get some of these mismatches, we get these teams in a pennant race against teams that are out of it.
Yeah, the lines get inflated. I think it can get difficult at this time of the year from this point forward, because we're going to begin to see, really inflated lines, this month. So
yeah. Also, there's a lot more betting opportunities now with legalization. Any chance you may start tracking some of these nerfies, first fives, first threes, first fours? I mean, have you ever seen that?
I've got enough to track. I'll let someone else do that.
All right, that's wide open, guys. The market's open for you to come in and start getting that database going.
No, it's just too much for me. I've got. Especially with basketball, basketball's a really hard thing. It's just, I've got a friend, he always talks to me about trying to, build a baseball database. And I was like, no, I'm not going to build a baseball database, because then you have to input all the data, and you have to, it's crazy. And I input all the data myself. I don't let a third party do it. So
because sometimes they miss games. You look at some of these data sites, right, and you say, hey, they played on August 26th. Why don't I see a score in there? Right?
I look at a lot of the data sites, and I see mistakes in their data all the time.
Yep,
so,
no doubt.
They're right most of the time, but it's not 100% of the time. So.
Not exactly. All right, Big Al here, St. Louis, -230 against the Reds. Also wouldn't mind if you do the run line. He's okay there. This one will have a start time, 6:40 Eastern time. All right, Big Al, let's take a look over at Pig Dogs Premium for tonight. Still 11 games here on the board here from Major League Baseball. What do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium? We see another great year coming in, 2,723 units of profit for 2022 documented, which you have going over at the site.
We got 4 football plays for Saturday action I've posted. Might end up having a 5th or 6th when all is said and done, but I've already posted the first 4. I don't have any baseball left for today. The only play we had was the Brewers. The football's up and ready, and I'm 77-53 with a push, my last 131 in college football. So don't miss any of those games, or better yet, just join for a week or a month and get all of my award-winning selections in football and baseball.
That's right, guys. Got on board with Big Al McMordie over at Pig Dogs. Pay him a great 2022, 2,723 units of profit, all documented over at Pig Dogs. Get on board. We're ready for some football. Big Al list, so get on board. College football winners up there for you right now. 4 of them on the site. Of course, these plays purchased individually are credit guarantee must win, or the amount you purchase is credited back into your account. Or, as Big Al was talking about, why not go with one of those long-term passes, that 1-month all sports pass to get you all of Big Al's plays here from Major League Baseball, college football, as well as the NFL for 1 month. So great value there. And you also, don't forget, use that promo code OG15 at checkout. They'll take 15% off. We'll do the math on this one. It's easy math. $75 off when you use that promo code OG15 at checkout. Guys, so get on board. Of course, for some of you shopping for a long-term handicapper, Big Al, why don't you let everybody know about what the numbers you put over the years? You've been documented almost about the entire career, spanning, I'll say, several decades, right?
This is my 31st season. I have been monitored every single year. I've won 22 out of the last 30 football seasons, college and pro combined. I've won the last 10 NFL seasons in a row. So I'm pretty consistent. And, last year I actually had a better college year than pro football, but I won in both of them. And if folks can just get on board with our football package, but I think the best deal of all is just to get football and basketball and baseball combined for the year. And we've also won 22 out of the last 30 basketball seasons, NBA and college combined. So
that's right. And those winners, and you've had some success in the horse race, the Triple Crown.
Yeah. We will. I almost gave out the Travers. I don't know if you watched the race. I was thinking about it, but I just thought there was no value, at all. With the Epicenter, I thought doing the exact, and I would have hit the exact, and I just decided I'll just wait till maybe take a look at the breeders.
Yeah, I don't know if we got the draw for the Pacific Classic. Only 6 horses, man. Oh my goodness, that's disappointing.
Yeah. But anyway, maybe we'll have horse racing. Maybe I'll do the Breeders' Cup. But for folks who don't follow it, I had the winner of the 2 out of the 3 races last year, and then in the Kentucky Derby we had the horse that finished second, but we had him to win in place, so we cashed that as well. So we won all 3 Triple Crown races, and I think I've won something like 5 out of the last 6 Triple Crown, or I don't know what it is. It's had a lot of success over the last 10 years of Triple Crown races. So.
Get Big Al's 1-year All Sports Pass. The AUG 15 promo will knock $300 off that, so you can see the value there in those long-term passes using those promo codes. $300 off with the AUG 15 with Big Al's 1-year premium plays. Includes postseasons as well on all the sports he handicaps: NBA, college basketball, NHL, NFL, postseason there as well. March Madness, you got it there. All right, Big Al, it's always great having you on the show.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Big Al McMordie here.
Adios.
Big Al McMordie here on the Drive to. Let's continue your coverage. Guys, if you missed any of our picks, we'll do a complete recap at the end of the show. As I mentioned earlier, James was not able to be with us here today, but I do have his pick, and we'll deliver that for you during the recap. Let's continue on here on the Drive-Thru. Let's go ahead and welcome in Sean Murphy. You'll find him over at Pick Dogs Premium. We'll bring Sean in right now. Sean, how's it going?
Good, Tony. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great. All right, here we go. 7 Eastern time. We have the Blue Jays here hosting the Cubs with the Blue Jays minus 225, total 9.5.
Yeah, so this one we kind of had to wait much of the day to find out who was going to be starting for the Cubs, but I think this was the starter that most of us expected here, with Chicago going with Luke Farrell, who's not actually a rookie. He's actually been in the up and down to the big leagues back all the way to 2017. He's made 6 career starts at this level, and actually one of them came against the Blue Jays last year when he was with the Minnesota Twins. And in that start, he only lasted 1 inning, and he gave up 5 earned runs. So we have the Jays here, somewhat familiar with Farrell. And when we've seen him this year with the Cubs, he's appeared in 2 games, 10 hits, 3 earned runs in those two appearances. And then you go to the minors, he's worked 60 innings, and he's got an ERA north of 5, 146 WHIP. He's getting up there close to 2 home runs per 9 innings at the AAA level. So, the Cubs are kind of using him out of necessity only here, with a few pitchers that couldn't make the trip north of the border here due to the COVID vaccination rules. So he'll get the start here tonight. I expect the Blue Jays, we've seen their bats the last 2 nights kind of come to life. They've been a streaky team all year, especially offensively, and I think we've seen them kind of come to life late in the opener of the series. And then again last night they put up another 5 runs. So I think they tee off on Farrell here. Even if they don't, on Farrell here. Even if they don't, you look at the Cubs bullpen, last 7 games, ERA of 8.26, 1.80 WHIP. So, the door is kind of wide open for the Jays to put up a good number here tonight. But on the flip side, I think the Cubs can get to the Jays staff here tonight as well. Toronto's going to go with Mitch White. He had a good start to the season with the Dodgers, but since he's joined Toronto, he's kind of been up and down, really. Last time out, he was awful against the Angels. And we've seen his FIP rise to 381, his WHIP's up to 136. He's giving up right around 4.5 runs per game per 9 innings here this season. So I think the Cubs can get to him a little bit here as well. And even the Jays bullpen, not bad overall this season, but last 7 games, a 160 WHIP. Again, I think the door is open here for both teams to put some runs up. And we're working with, last I checked, it looks like half starting to get kind of juiced out a little bit up around minus 120, but that's fine. I don't mind playing that at 9.5 here tonight. I think we easily get over that number.
All right, we got Sean here taking the Cubs Blue Jays over the total here of 9.5 runs. We're concerned here about the Blue Jays and giving up runs here. Mitch White, someone who doesn't go very deep in the games like the Dodgers used to do. Maybe the young pitchers give them 3-4 innings and they go right to the bullpen. You don't always afford that luxury when you have a bullpen that's struggling, or you have too many pitchers that can't go very deep in the game for you. So it taxes your bullpen. That's what really Mitch White. You've got to have really strong starting staff if you're going to insert someone like him in your rotation. And of course, the one thing with this Blue Jays, I've seen their numbers this year, and they've been particularly terrible, like as minus 200 favorites. I think they're like only 2 games over 500, losing nearly 17 units. I remember there was a similar game here against the Royals, right, where they're huge favorites and they just faltered again, right? Give up runs.
Yeah, they seem to have a tough time closing out series. It seems like they'll start a series well. If they do start a series well, they'll get to the first 2 games. They have a really difficult time, completing a sweep, which is what they're looking to do tonight. And you mentioned, Mitch White not working deep into the game. I think his first 4 starts with the Jays, he hasn't gone beyond the 5th. And again, with that bullpen, they've worked. They're getting up close to 30 and 26 and a third innings worked over the last 7 games. And again, they've struggled. I think. I do think the Cubs have enough kind of offense to maybe get to them here. We've seen Chicago put up 14 runs last 3 games, so they're not lifeless right now. I'm not one of the better teams, obviously, but I think they can do enough because, again, I'm anticipating the Jays putting up some they've got 5 runs in each of the last 2 games. I think they can top that number tonight, so I think we'll be well on our way here with this one going over the total.
Yeah, Toronto vulnerable win this spot here as a 200 favorite or greater this year, 16-14, straight up in almost negative 20 units. So we'll see if the Cubs can get some runs here against a team that's had some struggles. It's a huge favorite this season. Incredible. All right, this one will have a start time of 7 Eastern time. All right, Sean, let's take a look over at Pick Dodge Premium for tonight. Still 11 games in the prime time here from Major League Baseball. Don't know if you're in WNBA, but we do have WNBA semifinal playoffs as well for tonight. What do you have going on over at Pick Dodge Premium?
Yeah, so I had 1 game go off the board this afternoon. I had the Brewers' first 5 innings minus a half a run, which was kind of a brutal loss there. They had 2 runners on second and third, 1 out. They couldn't cash 1 more run in for me, so that was even. That ended up being a loss. 3 more MLB plays tonight. I've got a run line double play, so that package actually both plays must win, or you'll get that credit back in your account. And I also have a best bet blowout winner going in baseball as well. So 3 plays on the board here tonight in baseball. And, of course, college football gets going again tomorrow. I know last week I mentioned I had my total of the month. That was an easy winner with the Nevada, New Mexico State under last Saturday. Ended up splitting my 2 plays on Saturday. So we'll look to get back on the winning side with a 10-star play tomorrow night. And then I've got another total on Friday. And the Saturday card's still kind of building up. I've got 1 play there so far, but we'll have more to come. So, yeah, it's a good time of year for sure.
That's right. Great time of year. You got on board with Sean Murphy over at Pick Dogs Premium. Tonight's action, he's got his 2-pack right now from Major League Baseball. Credit guarantee must turn a profit or the amount is credited back into your account for side credit. That's how the credit guarantees work on the individual plays and on the 1-day passes. So get on board there with Sean with that Major League Baseball 2-pack. Also already on the board here, as Sean was mentioning, college football, a Thursday night play, as well as a Friday night play up there. A total up there for you. Best bets here as well from Major League Baseball. So a lot of individual plays up there, college football. But, as we talked about here, if you want to try out Sean, this would be a great time to get that 7-day all sports pass. You get all of Sean's premium plays for 7 days. It includes all his Major League Baseball, as well as his college football here for 7 days. So you want to get on board with that 7-day all sports pass. As we have college football here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, right? We have a big slate here of college football coming up. So that 7-day pass is perfect to get. You can use this promo code AUG15 at checkout. That'll save you 15% off. AUG15, AUG15, and that will get you that 15% off at checkout. You can add a second capper with that 2-for-1 cap promotion. Even greater value there. All right, Sean, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great evening, and we'll talk with you again next week. But just a question: are you contributing this year to some of the weekend shows, the football shows?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be back on the weekend shows here shortly. May not be this weekend. It'll probably be next weekend if they have a spot for me there. So, yeah, looking forward to that as well. So, hope to get going next weekend for that.
Very good, very good. So tune in with Sean. Will contribute on the weekend shows. Those big football shows coming up. All right, Sean. Have yourself a great week. We'll talk with you again next week.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
You got it. Sean Murphy here on the drive. Let's continue here. Guys, if you missed any of our picks, we'll do a complete recap here at the end of the show. Stay tuned for that. Also, want to just make note here that James was not able to be with us today, but I do have James's pick for you, so we'll get that to you during the recap. Up next is Dana Lane. I do see Dana signed in, so let's go ahead and let's bring in Dana Lane right now. You'll find him over at Pick Dogs Premium, so let's go ahead and bring in Dana Lane. Hope he's skip. I do see him blinking his eyes, so he's connected. So sometimes you see they don't move. You look like a statue there, Dana. I've got some movement from you. All right, let's bring him in right now. Dana Lane, you find him over Las Vegas based. I don't even want to talk about the weather. I saw someone put up 130 degrees today in their car. Dana, what's happening?
Yeah, well, let's be real about this, Tony. I mean, we've had a pretty good summer. I mean, I think up until the last 2 days, it's rained here for about a 3 weeks straight at least. So we will take that anytime. This is the first time it's gotten this hot. So we know the deal here, and at least we don't have to shovel snow.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we're getting triples out here as well. So anyway, this is the game of the big marquee matchup tonight. I know MLB is throwing an hour pregame show on this one. I've been watching it here. We had double coverage. We got the Nerfy on the earlier with Chris. Now we got a side here from you here in this one. 7 Eastern. Mets here to host the Dodgers. Mets ballooned up to $1.65 here in the morning with a total 6.5.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, I thought this number was going to go up, and obviously we weren't looking at it minus $1.60 to lay that on any game. That's just not good for the bankroll. But the run line certainly is an attractive option for me. And look, I mean, this is DeGrom's time. I mean, he comes into this one. He's got to be rested. He's got games under his belt. So it's he obviously hasn't thrown all season, but he's been real good of late. And 2 of those games were against the Atlanta Braves. So it's not like he's he cut through Colorado and Philadelphia, but 2 of the games that he started was against the Braves, and he's been fantastic in the month of August. So I have no problem laying this 1.5 if I'm getting that kind of plus money, and shop for those plus monies, especially when we're dealing with run lines, because you're getting over $1.40 in some shops, but by the time this game goes off, I mean, that number could change. So if you have access to multiple books, make sure, especially on the run line, that you shop for that better number. But I like the Mets in this game, so why would I lay $1.60 when if I like the Mets, I don't like them by just 1 run, I'm going to get an 80 cents difference and be more than happy to take that plus 1.5, especially with a Mets team that really needs to look good in this series. Over the next 16 games, they have games against teams that are under 500. This is really a chance for them and DeGrom to flex their muscles, and they had plenty of opportunities last night to do just that, especially in the 9th inning. Didn't cash in, but I think this is definitely a situation where I am more than happy to lay the 1.5, and especially now. I mean, you're looking at that division, Tony, and everybody's kind of spinning their wheels. I mean, this was a chance for the Braves, because I don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Really a chance for the Braves to get close, and they've been stumbling against teams that they have no business losing to, although they do that on pretty consistent basis against Colorado.
All right, so we got Dana here on this one here with the Mets run line minus 1.5 runs, plus 143 against the Dodgers. I'm seeing the 140s just about everywhere you shop, so you should be able to shop. But just don't go to the Mirage. That spread is high over at the Mirage, only plus 135 out there at the Mirage. There's some you got to, especially with these money line sports, you got to really do your shopping to get the best value possible. I'm going to ask you this question because I hear this a lot in soccer where you take the safe bet. I'm seeing here -1 at -103. I know it's the Dodgers. How do you feel about that -1 here instead of the 1.5?
I don't get involved in that, Tony, just simply because in Vegas we don't have that option very much. And I have 10 apps on my phone right now, and I don't think probably 2 of them have that on there. I know Stations probably is one of them, because they're very friendly to the local player and they try to give them as many options as possible, but it's just not an option for me. I like to stay traditional. All my spreadsheets and numbers are based upon 1.5 or the straight up money line. I have seen that one pop up, and it is intriguing. It's very similar to the NHL when they're putting up the regulation line, something I'm really going to take a look at next year. But with this -1, perhaps that's something I'll infiltrate starting next year. But it's something that's relatively brand new to me, and I have to get some numbers behind it before I start feeling comfortable betting it.
Yeah, it's a team that's been a very popular wager there over in the soccer land there. They call it the safe bet. The safe bet. I don't know what that means, but that's where that language came from.
Yeah, hey, look, even Tony, I'll tell you, I've dived into soccer a little bit. I've tried to expand as much as I can because you get these early morning games, especially on the weekends, these 4 o'clock games or 6 a.m. games. I mean, you could roll right into all the American sports that we traditionally bet. So I have been, certainly trying to expand on that. But I do look at those options, but I just don't have a feel for it yet, and I really would prefer getting a plus $1.40 number. I don't handicap these games thinking I'm going to win by one run. If I thought I was going to win by one run, I would kind of move on. But obviously the goal is to build bankroll, and I think $1.40 with a team that needs this game against a Dodger team, at some point injuries are going to start hurting this team. Not yet. I thought they would peak at some point already, but they certainly haven't, and they're just an absolute machine. That whole organization, even going down to their minor leagues.
Yep, no doubt about that. We got the Mets here. The run line, -1.5 runs, plus 143 against the Dodgers. This one, the top of the hour, over on MLB Network. All right, Dana, let's take a look over at Pick Dogs Premium for tonight. Still 11 games here on the board for Major League Baseball. Check that. We've got 9 as we have the 6:40 starts now popping in here. So 9 games remaining on the board. I don't know if you're delving into WNBA action. I know you're Vegas bound. People there follow those aces out there. What do you have going over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Yeah, the Aces need a win. Boy, it would be awfully disappointing. I know a lot of people thought going into the season they were the cream of the crop. But I will say one WNBA note, if you follow that on a consistent basis, there were games that Vegas lost or barely won against the Indiana Fevers of the league that, boy, they just had no business losing to. I know they lost to the New York Liberty at one point, and that really just tells me something, that there's just that one little missing piece, because the great teams, they may squeak by, but they certainly don't lose. And I know, it just kind of, to me, it shows a little bit of a lack of character. And, when you get to this point in the season, you're playing the great teams of the league. I mean, we saw it in Game 1 and a rocking Mandalay Bay at the Michelob Light Arena. Boy, that's a game that they really needed. That's a tough loss. But anyway, up on Pick Dog, Tony, we have Kansas City Royals at the Chicago White Sox. That's my game. That's my top game today. Just this $30. We got a run line play for you on that. Been doing pretty well in baseball. Really looking to finish this year off on a strong note, and that to me popped off the page today in today's schedule.
All right, guys, got to go with Dana Lane over at Pick Dogs Premium, showing good profit here from Major League Baseball 2022. Hit the stretch run here tomorrow. We're in September baseball. Let's call up these minor league guys. Let's even look at some of these minor league numbers. And, it's going to be fun here as we get to the final month here of baseball leading up to, I think, will be a very exciting postseason now with this new playoff structure. The new playoff structure that's out there now. So get on board with Dana Lane. He does have a play up there. His top whale winner here from the Royals and White Sox. Of course, that is credit guaranteed. Must turn a profit must win, or the amount you purchase is credited back into your account for site credit. So get on board there with Dana. Of course, the long-term passes are your best value. Of course, that $30 sports pass will get you all of Dana's plays here. They'll take you near the end of the regular season in Major League Baseball. We'll get you the first 3 weeks of the NFL, the next 4 weeks here of college football with that 1 month all sports pass. A great value right there. As I said, this is a big weekend of college football. Thursday through Monday, there's college football action. Big cards here from Major League Baseball. Beginning Fridays, we got, I believe, an 8-game card tomorrow, but still lots of baseball coming up for you guys. So get that 1 month all sports pass. We're going to save you some money here when you use the promo code OG. We'll take $60 off when you use the promo code OG15. That's 15% off Dana's 1 month all sports pass. Or you can also add a second capper with that 2-for-1 capper promotion. Even greater value there. All right, Dana, as always, great having you show. Have yourself a great evening. We'll talk next week. Of course, I'm asking you, ask Sean, will you be contributing to some of the big football shows on the weekends?
I'm more than happy to, for sure. I don't have to cart my kids around on the weekend, so I have a little bit more time. But here comes the avalanche of sports, and we always think about during the summertime. We're like, oh boy, we only have baseball and a little WNBA, and wish it was the fall sports. Well, here it comes, and here comes the extra work, and this is why you pay people good money to do that work for you. So we're prepared for the upcoming baseball, the baseball playoffs, the NFL, college football, and of course NBA and NHL coming up.
Yep, NHL. The train camp's getting close. I know it's always the first one, right? of the sports.
Can't wait.
No doubt. All right, Danny, have yourself a great week. We'll talk next week.
You too. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate your time.
You got it. Dana Lane here on The Drive. Let's continue our coverage, guys. Again, if you missed our picks, we'll do a complete recap. Seeing a bunch of people sign in right now. We'll do a complete recap at the end of the show. Also, as I said, James could not be with us today, but I do have his pick. We'll give his pick out for you here on the recap. Let's continue on here on The Drive-Thru. It's Wednesday. It's time to talk with Mitch. Let's bring in Mitch right now. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing good. You can feel the energy building. I think, a lot of us get a little complacent during baseball season. It kind of, you have the same matchups day after day and, 3-4 days in a row. And, the season goes on for a very long time. It's, it was a hot summer around the entire country. I don't know about the rest of the world, but it was definitely hot across the U.S. And I think everyone's ready for it to cool down about 10 degrees and sit down and watch some football. And I'm with them all.
Yeah, big Labor Day weekend. Looking forward to it. Thursday through Monday, college football. Then we move into an NFL week next week with the Thursday night game between the Buffalo Bills and LA Rams. Just a week and a day away. So we're looking forward here for the start of NFL here. And of course, coming up in about 8 days. So a lot of excitement here. And of course, we're going to take care of business today because there's time to build up that bankroll for football with baseball here. We got the Yankees here on the road here facing the Angels. We've got the Yankees. Of course, you can expect them here big favorites. Minus 190, total 7.5.
I believe the problems for the Yankees are a lot more deep-rooted than what the public and general betting public and the fans and, of course, the media will let on. We've seen the Yankees since the All-Star break slump more than streak, and that's for sure. And, we certainly have seen some problems. Aaron Judge has had an amazing season, and he has pretty much carried this team on his back when needed to be because they've been outmanaged in a lot of these games. In other games, they've just been flat-out beat with guys that overachieved during the first half and kind of, I don't know if they've underachieved, but they've at least regressed to their numbers, especially in the starting pitching. Garrett Cole is supposed to be the stopper of this rotation, and he's been anything but that. He has been able to be hit. He's been tagged. He's been all of those things. And when he's the guy that's supposed to stop the bleeding, sometimes he's the guy that actually opens up the wound. And I think that's certainly something that we need to keep an eye on here. We've made a lot of money fading Cole this season in spots like this. And, on the road, we know the Yankees did get the win last night, but to me, less than convincing. Cole did get the win in his last start. That was at Oakland, but he had lost his last 4 decisions in a row, and he had 2 no decisions in there mixed in. They split those 1-1, the Yankees. So Cole, anything from a guy that you would lay 2-1, as far as money goes, because he just hasn't delivered at that kind of rate. And he has not delivered, for the Yankees, and the Yankees in general have not delivered at that kind of rate. We don't love the LA Angels, that's for sure. And it's hard to beat up a guy with a 3.31 ERA. But let's face it, the top line stoppers, the guys who are the best pitchers in the game, which Cole is, certainly sometimes seen in that regard. He has not performed up to the level of the Justin Verlanders, the Jacob deGroms, and that is where the expectation is. When he was signed, they acted like they signed Verlander or Scherzer or something like that. They basically got a guy who's 10-6 with a 3.31 ERA and 200 strikeouts in 157 innings. So he strikes out a lot. He's also given up 22 bombs. So.
Yeah, the home runs, I've heard him 1.26 home runs for 9 innings. It's not that elite status there, as you said, even there with the ERA. But Sandoval, he's again, it's Angels. It's been tough, but through a tough season, he's put up some decent numbers.
Yeah, and Cole also has 0 complete games, over the course of the season as well. So, we're going to see this Yankees bullpen. I just think that, like I said, I don't think Cole is as bad as I make him out to be. And I think, I get misconstrued because of course I go, I always take it to the extreme and, it's what I do, right? I can't help myself. And so people will misconstrue it that I'm a Yankee hater or a Cole hater or something like that. No, I'm just saying that if you ask for that kind of money, then you need to produce. And if they have you as the stopper and as the world beater, then you have to be able to do that. And, last year around this same time, he absolutely imploded. he was getting whipped up on by the Tampa Bay Rays. So I think that, I think he has something to prove, and I just don't think he proves it here. I think that, he as good of a season as Judge has had, who I believe should be the MVP, because he's overcome a really poor manager to really elevate his team beyond just how bad the manager is on that team. And, Shohei Ohtani, he hasn't been able to elevate his team the way that Judge has, but at the same time, you can't take anything away from Ohtani. A couple of years ago, I said that he was just, a guy that, could be a great pitcher or could be a great hitter. If he concentrated one way or the other, I was wrong. He's really good at both.
All right, so we have Mitch here on the Angels plus 165 here against the Yankees. I'm looking here at some numbers, Mitch, with Cole. Over the past 2 seasons, he's been a favorite on the mound of at least minus 110 or higher. He's been a favorite 55 times. The record just 31 and 24, minus 18 units.
Yeah, so that doesn't justify the price on this thing. If you do the math, the probability doesn't lend itself to having to lay 2 to 1, 2 times as much money to win half as much. It just doesn't work that way. And I know a lot of people out there don't bet it the way that I bet games. I understand that, but at the same time, even sticking it in your parlays, you have to look for the value. And there might be more value here on the Angels plus 1.5 in your parlay, with maybe even having to lay less juice than you do with the Yankees. Here on the money line.
That's right. So we got here the Mitch here on the Angels here plus 165 here against the Yankees, and of course this one will have a start time here of we got it here at 9:40 Eastern time. All right, Mitch. Let's do this here. I'll bring you on the recap. I know you got some things you'd like to discuss here on the show because we had a big guest list tonight. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the recap. I'm going to get your camera here on the recap here, and we'll go get to it as we're hitting the top of the hour. My pick goes off. It's the late game, so we'll have that after we finish the segment here with Mitch. So let's go into the recap. Bring in Mitch here on the recap. So we started off here with Chris. Chris liked the Mets Dodgers, no runs first inning, minus 165. James, here's the pick. James was not able to be with us today, but we got his pick. Red Sox plus 105 here against the Twins. Ninos was on the White Sox or Royals over 8.5. McMordie, this game's in progress here. He liked the Cardinals here at minus 230 against the Reds. He also said he would go with the run line on that one. Sean here, Cubs, Blue Jays over 9.5. Dana, Mets run line, minus 1.5 runs, plus 143 against the Dodgers. We have Mitch here on the Angels plus 165 against the Yankees. My play will be the Diamondbacks plus 115 against the Phillies. I'll tell you this a little later. All right, Mitch, other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
Of these out here, I would say the Diamondbacks over the Phillies. They've won 7 in a row against the Phillies. We saw Aaron Nola last night quit out on the mound and just basically say, I have no chance here. I also like the Cardinals here over the Reds. I just don't like the price. But with Mike Minor going there, I think you might be able to get a little bit more aggressive with laying some runs. But I also believe that in that one that you want to hit some of those home run props like Paul Goldschmidt and Arenado, maybe even a couple of the other guys. Ruffolo and I like to call those, when you just like everybody did hit a home run. We just call it the catalog.
Yeah, the catalog there, no doubt. I like Ninos' play here with the White Sox Royals over 8.5. All right, Mitch, what's everybody know what's happened over at Pick Dogs as we head into football?
Well, everybody knows I Sports Chat Place started as a site called the College Football Place, and it morphed into becoming Sports Chat Place. And Sports Chat Place was obviously, around many, many more years before we started Pick Dogs in October of 2019. So, Pick Dogs was started because even though I was legally not allowed to work on another website, I would rather take the chance and start a website so I can talk about college football with you guys. And that's how we did it. So we love our college football. I'm really excited to do a lot of analysis. As far as my wins and losses on it, I feel, pressure to give out a lot more games than, sometimes I'm more comfortable with. And a lot of times those weekday games are the ones that are my undoing as far as my overall record goes. But when it comes to the Saturdays, we usually take no prisoners. And I expect that to be the case this season. I did not open up week 0 all that well. But at the same time, I think every one of my losses, I think I had at least a good path. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I went in there and I was like, man, I couldn't have been any more wrong. I think I could see how I got to the game, and I could see how it didn't happen for me. It wasn't that I was just totally off. you know. And I think sometimes you look at games like last night. I had the under in the Diamondbacks Phillies game, and you know I was just way off. You know, I was just I just got destroyed. But even in the Hawaii Vanderbilt game last week, I thought that, you know, it was just a couple of key plays that made the difference. And then, you know, once teams are rolling downhill. But I'm really, really excited for this college football season. I'm really excited, as Tony mentioned, that we've changed back to our credit guarantee policy where every daily package is automatically credit guaranteed. You don't have to pay a surcharge to get a credit if your pick doesn't win. If your pick doesn't win, we don't get paid. You know, nobody gets paid out at our site until your credit is used on a winning pick. And I think that's the important part of it, is that our cappers don't win unless you win. And it's like, I know that other sites, they love to copy every little thing that we do. So they copied us when we tried that non-credit guarantee. And our thought process there, in all fairness, was not to take money for losing picks. The thought process was to offer it as a least expensive product for people that really don't want to use credits anyway. And what I think we misunderestimate is that I think everybody wants credits if you don't win. So I think that I'm really excited that we're able to do that. I think that a lot of people have, you know, regain their trust and faith in us because of that as well. And I'm excited to say that. And it's what we're all about. You know, it's I've done really well in this business. I'm not going to sit here and cry poverty. No one's going to believe me. But at the same time, you know, it's like I'm always about giving back and being part of the community. And we are going to have some big giveaways. We weren't able to do our NFL contest this year, but in lieu of that, I'll probably be doing a t-shirt giveaway to represent our new Sports Chat Place website design that will be coming out shortly, and with our new logo. As we're not rebranding, but we've had many different Sports Chat Place logos over the years. And just like you can see on my hat, I have one Pick Dogs logo, and on my shirt, I have a different one. You know, so we have several different iterations of our logos, and we have a new one for Sports Chat Place. It's just an update. It's the 2022-2023 update. The last update we had to our logo was, I believe, 2015 or 2016. So it's just time, you know, and it's just time. And I'm excited about that. But I'm really excited about college football. I've been going through the games for this weekend. I don't know if Tony has started already, but I was kind of hoping he'd just pick out a few and hit me with them, but
yeah,
he didn't.
I got Cincinnati, Arkansas. I've looked at the first 13. I've looked at the first 13. Cincinnati, Arkansas.
All right, Cincinnati, Arkansas was not on my list, but I actually do like this game. I like Cincinnati in the game. I believe that they have built a brand and have built a program there, and it's not just about one player or one team. And I believe that Luke Fickell has opened up that pipeline. And what we've seen in Cincinnati over the last decade, and it's not, you know, this is not, you know, oh, they had one good year and they made the playoff. This has been a decade-plus long system build that's gone on from Brian Kelly all the way through. Butch Jones, you know, he might have been terrible at Tennessee. He was great at Cincinnati. They really only had one dud there. That was Tommy Tuberville. But outside of him, you know, Mark D'Antonio, right, he became the Michigan State head coach. Yep. And, you know, he was actually first. And then it was Brian Kelly. Right, so it's like they had this long progression of these coaches that all went on to take bigger and better jobs and to also, you know, built Cincinnati. And I think Cincinnati's done it with hard-nosed physical football. And also, you know, Luke Fickell, as bad as he was as the head coach of Ohio State, and he was dealt a bad hand there when he was the interim coach at Ohio State, he was good enough, and he's as good of a football mind that when his run ended as interim head coach, they kept him on. You know, it was like they were like, okay, you might not be the head coach anymore, but you're staying here. You know, it's kind of like, you know, Bill Belichick, you know, saying to Josh McDaniels or, you know, to his guys, you know, hey, I know you took some head coaching, but you're more than welcome to come back because we know you're really good at that specific job. And, you know, Todd Bowles is that type of guy too. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I know he's a head coach now, but he'll be a coordinator again soon, and he'll, you know, be awesome at it. So, you know, I just think that Luke Fickell's done a nice job with Cincinnati. I think Arkansas might just not be 100% there yet. And I think Cincinnati in these games like this, these chip on their shoulder that, you know, it's us against the world. No one thinks we can do it. This is their wheelhouse. You know, this is a very dangerous team getting points.
Yeah, I thought so too. Oregon and Georgia. Of course, Nick's now the quarterback here at Oregon. Two defensive-minded coaches going at it here in this Oregon Georgia team. We know Georgia lost a lot on the defensive side of the football.
Well, the thing that Georgia hasn't just lost a lot on the defensive side of the football, they lost a lot on the offensive side of the football too. James Cook and Pickens, two guys that are going to see a lot of action on Sundays coming up this season. Also, a lot of their defenders are going to see a lot of action as well. But at the same time, we know that Kirby Smart has worked the recruiting end of things extremely well. Where he has not worked really well is keeping his players, as a lot of his guys hit the portal because he has so much talent on the roster. These guys are not going to sit around and compete for a job that they're not going to win. They end up hitting the portal. So we'll see if Georgia has that ripple effect that we've seen other teams that have had runs like this and have been able to stay on top, if they take maybe a step back this season. I think people are underestimating the Ducks a little bit. I don't think Nix really fits the Oregon style that we've seen in recent years. I think that he might be the one downfall for this team because he does look confused at times. It is a ton of points, but we know I wouldn't be surprised if they end up putting in a different quarterback than him. And we saw Oregon in a very similar spot last year going to Columbus and just beat the crap out of Ohio State. I mean, they beat they could have played that game another hour, and Oregon still would have scored every single time they touched the football. So, it's different coaching staff, different things.
Georgia, and Anthony Brown, if Nix was under center, would that have happened? Because Anthony Brown had a lot to do with that.
Oh, he was awesome. They were just too good. They were just too good. Ohio State, it's one of the few times that we've seen Ohio State get beat, but we haven't seen many games where they just have had no answers, and that was pretty much like we saw them lose to Michigan. But it wasn't like they just got, destroyed like they did in that Oregon game. And the score of that Oregon game, while not indicative of a blowout, it was Ohio State was never threatening to win that game. They were never like, oh, we got, they made a stop and they're going to, it's like, no, they couldn't stop anything.
North Carolina 0-6 on the road last season. They're going to be at App State.
Well, they looked like straight ass against Florida A&M in that game on Saturday. They were laying 42 points, and I saw it even go as high as 45 at game time. Never even got a whiff of it. And I'll tell you where they really were bad was on the defensive side of the ball. They really need to shore up some of these holes on defense because I think App State is going to be able to move the football on them. We're seeing a super tight spread in this one, and it might be a little bit aggressive going the other way, but I think North Carolina probably going to take a step back this season.
Yeah, they opened 4. They're down to -1 in this one. Of course, the game I got a little interested in because of the home dogs scenario here. East Carolina hosting NC State. NC State opened 10.5, now up to 11.5.
Maryland and NC State always remind me of one another, and these are two teams that a lot of people are high on, but a lot of the same issues for both these teams, where the defense is really going to have to step it up this season. I think they have no concerns on offense, but on defense, I'm just not sure. I think NC State, being at home here, East Carolina has had that same quarterback, the last several seasons, our ends, but I don't believe he's back. So it should be a good a difference maker for East Carolina, who is always underestimated. They're always underestimated, always well coached, and always way underestimated. So I wouldn't be surprised getting the big number here if they do something.
Yeah, the Pirates 6-7 covering as a home underdog, and one of the big line moves here, one of those. I was going to say it's one of those MAC versus Big Ten games, but UCLA is not in the Big Ten yet. But I'm going to call it MAC versus Big Ten. Is Bowling Green? This one opened UCLA 31.5. This one has come down to 23.5. And one of the big line moves here in Week 1.
Yeah, UCLA. Still, I think a lot of people not believing in this team. I think it's one of those programs that certainly has the talent pipeline there and should be a lot better than what they've been. I saw Josh Rosen's contract was terminated by the Cleveland Browns, and we all shed a tear on that one. But Jim Mora Jr. Back in action for UConn. So Tony, we might not be too far away from buying a new boat. Who knows? These guys have certainly, paid the bills for us before. But, I thought actually Jim Moore Jr. did a nice job with UConn against Utah State, who I think was looking ahead to that Alabama game.
Yeah, might have been. Okay, we see a line move here. And can you trust Maryland here? They were at 20.5. Now they're up to 24.5 in some places here against Buffalo. Buffalo team that really disappointed last year with that senior quarterback coming back last season.
They did, but Van Trees, what he did is, instead of coming back to this team, he ended up going to Georgia Southern. He left the program. So Buffalo has a lot of new names and a lot of new faces, and I think they're actually not going to be as horrible as people think. I believe they're picked second in their division. Meanwhile, Maryland, as good as they are offensively, and of course, Tagliavoa, or however you say it, he's become his own player. He's no longer to his little brother, right? He's become his own guy, and he set all kinds of Maryland passing records last season. But unfortunately, fourth defensive coordinator in 4 years for the Terps. That usually means that there's big holes and big problems. And, I think that, when you're laying that many points, maybe the initial line that looked good, and it's one of those, this could be one of those sharp number games where the sharps got the right number and everybody else is screwed if you have Maryland. It just seems to be like that type of game, right? Where it's like the line moved, it's like through 24.5 now. I could see it, being 22, 20, right? Yeah. It's like one of those games. You can see Buffalo with the garbage touchdown because Maryland's defense is a sieve.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, they gave up 66 to Ohio State, 51 to Iowa last year. I mean, they gave up big numbers on defense. I think Penn State put 50 on them.
Speaking of defense, you have to look at this team as a defensive team now. I know this Houston Cougar team used to be a high flyer. They're going to be at UTSA. This has been a line move. Houston was 6.5 on the road. They're down to 4 here on the road here against UTSA.
More of a statement about UTSA than a statement about Houston, I believe, in this one. I think, like you said, I think Houston probably the better team here. Certainly on paper they are. But, you have another team with a home opener and all that kind of good stuff, and a decent team. And this could be another one of those games that might be just a little bit closer than people think because Houston not a high flyer like they once were.
All right, another one interesting game here as we have Mountain West versus the Pac-12. Arizona at San Diego State. San Diego State's going to bring in their new stadium. They're -6. Arizona is just like 1-24 their past 25 games. It's been a mess over there. But the San Diego State team, they're very tough to trust laying points because Brady Hoke is one of the most conservative coaches you'll ever see. No one really sees those late. Of course, we watch those late night games on CBS Sports Network at 11 Eastern. So it's gonna be later for you now, Mitch. Now watch those games. Those late night games.
If you haven't seen San Diego State and you don't remember watching them last year, and you take San Diego State, just be prepared that they're going to be losing outright at some point in this game, and it's not going to look like very hopeful because that's the way that they've played last season. They went to the Mountain West Championship game last year. They got stomped by Utah State, but they did go to the championship game. But, man, they trailed like in every single game. And Brady Hoke, this is one of those things like we talked about. You can go back home again. He was at San Diego State. He left, took the Michigan job, circled around, long left, and now he's back at San Diego State. And he's actually done a nice job there. So I think San Diego State is the more talented team. I think Arizona still has some growing pains going on. I think they have a good running back. They have one of the better quarterbacks in the Pac-12. So they certainly have talent, but that hasn't meant anything for Arizona in recent years. But we'll have to see, what that means for them this season. But I don't trust them. Very, very hard to trust them. But once again, tough to trust San Diego State, laying points when they're going to be losing.
Yeah.
So
and they're going to be running on 3rd and 6. And then putting the ball, playing that field goal position.
It's a tough day at the office. It's a tough day at the office for San Diego State. There's a couple Mountain West Pac-12s this weekend. So,
yeah, there's a couple of them out there, and that should be interesting. The game here, I was interested in your thoughts here on, Mitch, is what we'll see from this Ole Miss team with the quarterback change here. They're going to lay about 21.5 against Troy. This isn't the Troy that we've known here the past few seasons. They've kind of take a few steps back.
They have, and Ole Miss, I believe, lost their offensive coordinator to Oklahoma as well. So I think that is, certainly some issues there too. So Ole Miss, but they're still going to be Ole Miss, and they're still going to be aggressive, and they're still, Lane Kiffin's going to be Lane Kiffin, but generally, with other people's players, he generally does better than with his own guys. So we'll have to see how this pans out for him. He's another guy that's had a lot of success as a coordinator, but as a head coach hasn't really gotten to the top of the mountain or even over the hump.
This is a team that we'll see it. We usually see a lot on Thursday and Friday nights. So I'll bring this up because when we get into those Thursday, Friday night games, you see them in action. You want to know something about them. Is this Tulsa team? They're road favorites, 6.5 against Wyoming. They did show some improvement last year. Matter of fact, they were good spread covers late last year.
Yeah, but we saw Wyoming already play a game this year. So just because you saw teams play poorly in week 0, it doesn't mean it necessarily carries over. And it's kind of like the teams that had the extra preseason game under their belt in the NFL. Certainly, being out there playing against other teams and also knowing that maybe a couple plays here and there that made the difference in that game. Wyoming was obviously overmatched by Illinois. I'm not so sure they're going to be overmatched here by Tulsa, though.
No, I don't think so either. Okay, we got to get the Michigan in, right? We got to get the Michigan in. Colorado State. Norville leaves Nevada for this Colorado State job. They're laying a bundle here at home against Colorado State.
He took a bunch of his players with him too, so he certainly has a lot of those guys. But I think this is that type of game where Michigan starts rolling downhill. They're home. They're getting the calls like they always do, and it's just a very, very tough building in this type of spots. What we've seen from Harbaugh, actually in last year especially, was that they did take care of business in these type of games. I expect him to take care of business here. Harbaugh also, I think he overcoaches. As much as he can look confused at times, he also kind of takes it a little bit too seriously when they're up big, and it's almost embarrassing, to the other team and to himself.
Utah at Florida, one of them high marquee games here. Utah defending Pac-12 champs into Florida here. Looks like we're seeing Utah here 3. Some of the sharp book, I see a real sharp book now at -2.5. Kind of means maybe the sharps are leaning toward the Florida plus. That's the plus side here.
One of the toughest games on the board, is, I would say, because one of the toughest plays here because the thing here is that Florida has a ton of talent. Liegert at the running back, everybody wanted this guy. He was top 5, coming out of high school. The quarterback, we saw him. He's decent. Florida has athletes. They have good players. Utah lost some guys, but we saw Rising last year when he came in after the Brewer disaster. The guys love him, and he played well. This is going to be a pretty good game. I think this one might be a better game for the fans than for the bettors. And it could really go either way. And it's been a hot summer. It could, who knows what it's going to be in the Swamp. Which is never an easy place to play. You got to remember, Dan Mullen was fired last year. They missed a 2-point conversion against Alabama for the win. They lost by 1 point. They scored the touchdown. They went for the 2-point conversion and ran some kind of hidden ball trick, against them. But it didn't work.
Just take note back on that Bowling Green UCLA game. It's going to be triple digits in that game in Pasadena for Bowling Green. There's something to take note in when Bowling Green goes into UCLA for that game that we talked about. It is a day game there, and we're looking at triple digits this weekend. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Mitch, we see the numbers here at 17. Of course, I don't know if you saw the clip here. The Notre Dame coach, someone asked him about the point spread. He said he took note of that.
Yeah, it's it is a gigantic spread. I don't know. I'm still on the fence on this one. I think that Ohio State certainly has the team to blow them out, but are they going to allow that on ABC in primetime? Generally they don't, but we'll have to see. They didn't allow it when Notre Dame the last time they were in the playoff, so it'll be interesting to see if they allow it here.
All right, we'll wrap it up with the final 2 here on the slate here. Florida State, LSU, your standalone game here on Sunday with LSU -3 in this one.
I'd say LSU all day. Brian Kelly's first game in this one. In Florida State, we saw them last week. Actually, a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. I thought that they would have not even get close to a cover in that game, but they did, and they didn't cover, but they came close to covering. But definitely better. But Brian Kelly, another guy who's kind of a jerk, but it's we'll see what he has to work with at quarterback too, and because he has to have a quarterback in his system. His system does not work without a quarterback.
Your Labor Day game here, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson opened 21, now up to 22.
Yeah, this is another one where we saw Clemson be fairly unimpressive last season, and I think without Will Venables running the defense, we're going to start to see that part of their game deteriorate a little bit too. I think it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Clemson plays it out over the next year or so as Nick Saban starts to wrap up his career at Alabama and Dabo Swinney maybe not winning with such regularity at Clemson like he was before. Without Venables there running the defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. this is one of those ones. Georgia Tech, of course, losing their top running back to Alabama. They're all American, and this is one of the things that the transfer portal where it's basically unfair and doesn't make sense. I could see if it's a guy that didn't play any games, and you should have to. Like, in order to be in the transfer portal, you should have to be like a red shirt type thing, where you didn't play in at least 3 games or something. You can't be an All-American or the Bolitnikoff Award winner and just transfer because you feel like playing for the Yankees. It just doesn't work that way,
Yeah, like that Pitt receiver that went to the USC, right?
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. Exactly the same thing. It's just like, it's not even fair. It doesn't make any sense. But I definitely like the chances there of Georgia Tech at least getting covered, because we saw such bad quarterback play from Clemson. But one of the games that we didn't go over that I'm also really interested in is Boise and Oregon State. Mm-hmm. I just think that Oregon State, the expectations are there that they could be an under the radar Pac-12 championship game team. I just think that, and Boise State after a 7-6 season last year. To me, this is one of the more interesting games out there, because you have a quarterback at Oregon State who turns the ball over like no one's business, and then you have a Boise defense that created 23 turnovers a year ago. So it's like, this is a bad matchup in that respect, but the world kind of leaning on Oregon State here because Boise was so disappointing last year. But Bachmeier is back at QB for Boise. This is an interesting game. You have 2 returning starting QBs. You've got Pac-12 Mountain West again. You've got, Oregon State, kind of the up-and-comer. Boise, maybe, a second-year head coach there now, out to prove a point that last year was just an aberration, and that it was his first year there, and it's kind of his getting to know you. And Bachmeier, of course, as the quarterback, something to prove here for Boise as well. And I know Boise also lost their running back to the NFL, but they have the guy who was the starter in 2019 that blew his knee out. He comes back with a chance for something to prove here as well. Of course, always a question mark in that situation, but this is going to be a hell of a game. This is a can't miss.
Yeah, I'm showing the sharp books offshore -3, the sharp books in Vegas -2.5. So we'll see how that one plays out there. Hope it's not like a basketball team, right? We got excited about Oregon State basketball. They cost people a lot of money when you factor the college basketball team.
Terrible.
Oregon football team is the same thing, right? They get the highly touted and they fail cover. That was brutal. This is the game that I scratched my head with. I don't know why I track myself. This is like, this will make you sweat everything out of you. Louisville at Syracuse. Louisville opened 2.5 up to 4.5. We'll close it with this one because it's Syracuse Louisville.
Yeah, I think that I think you have the ACC matchup here. I think, the expectations at Louisville is that they're going to take that next step. They certainly have the coach. They went out there and got their guy. Syracuse, it's been a disappointing run for them. Tommy DeVito not there to kick around anymore. But we saw last year, they kind of did step it up. I think this is going to be another one of those good games, probably fairly close.
Before they get into heavy action, I just want to get your thoughts here on Texas A&M. Apparently, this is the team with the money in the SEC that everyone's afraid of about as far as getting players or buying players. I guess they got the oil money. How do you see Texas A&M this year?
Well, what we saw was Kellen Mond was cut by the Minnesota Vikings, and he was actually picked up by Cleveland Browns. So, someone's got faith in him, but he's looked terrible every time I've seen him in preseason. But the thing is that Jimbo Fisher does have that national championship at Florida State, though, not at Texas A&M. He's had some good wins, at Texas A&M, beating Florida. But, looking back, and that one might not be as impressive as it looked at the time. He hasn't really shown that he can get them over the top. He had the Heisman winner, when he did win at Florida State. I don't know, and it was pre-playoff, when he won as well. When they did play in the playoff, they got rung up when it was a playoff system. So, it'll be interesting to see. I think that Jimbo Fisher, he makes obviously a ton of money, and the players make a ton of money there. We'll have to see how it is, but we know that, week 3, the big test, Miami at Texas A&M.
That's the big test there, and I'm going to close with this. Skyler Thompson. We talked about him last year, right? What's your thoughts on this?
That's, We haven't seen it yet, right?
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. Just some exhibition play. We'll see what happens if he gets in, but we'll see. We'll see. We thought he might have been a dark horse here to make a pro roster. May do that.
Yeah, I think he might. You know. But anyways.
All right, Mitch.
Yeah, I love college football. I'm
yes.
definitely ready for action. So.
We're ready. We're ready for the games again tomorrow, guys. So be sure to tune in to Drive Thru tomorrow. All right, Mitch. Anything in closing before we let you go?
No. Just be sure to check us all out at Pick Dogs and Sports Chat. You hear the energy from the Handicappers on our website. Everyone kind of all systems go and ready for action here for college football season, for NFL season, and a lot of the guys really. Finishing the season strong. I know, Al McMordie was on the show today, basically a legend who's, I don't know if he mentioned it on the show, but he's had, more real winning football seasons. I know the Twitter guys and the guys in the YouTube comments never lose a game, but I'll tell you one thing, this guy has documented records
31 years. I bring it up all the time.
Of hammering the book.
31 years documented.
And James Clark might seem like a country, just a good old guy, he'd like to have a couple beers with, but he's straight cold-blooded when it comes to handicapping, and his numbers, not just this year, last year as well, have certainly proved that. So, we have, not just them, Dana Lane is a pro, and Tony, has been around forever. So, we just have, a really good crew. I know Tony's brought in a lot of the younger guys on here too that we have with us that are, the up and coming guys. Kind of, you could see the next generation, Jay Briggs and Ron Romanelli, you could see it all happening. And I'm glad that we're able to do it at Pick Dogs. We might not be these guys that are sitting there and acting like we're these Vegas sharps, with saying this percentage of your bankroll and this and that. Like, we know it. Let's just say, you guys have seen my house, I've done okay over the years, and I think, you guys have seen, what we've done at Pick Dogs, and, while I certainly don't win every game, 8 million people a month can't be wrong. So, stick with us. We're not going to win every single game. We're not going to sit here and pretend, and we're certainly not going to sit here and do a group hug and act like that makes us a better handicapper. We're all going to stand behind each other, and we're all going to try and rally each other and pick each other up off the mat. But at the same time, we're not going to say that makes us, a better at picking games because we have beers together or something. That's just stupid.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But as always, Mitch, it's the transparency. The plays are documented, graded. People can go and see the records there. You're going to get a lot of people giving picks, talk about their records, but if you have no way of verifying, you can't really trust them.
That's exactly it. Thanks everyone for always tuning in and supporting us over the years. I appreciate it, and we're going to make this season bigger and better. And like I said, we're not going to have the contest at least in the early part of the season, but I will do some sort of giveaway, when to unveil the new sports chat.
Beautiful. Sounds great. All right, Mitch, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
You got it. Mitch here on the drive. So let's continue on here with the show, guys. We did the recap, and I did give my pick here, as you guys saw earlier. I like the Diamondbacks here, plus 115. We have time because this one doesn't start for another couple hours here. Mitch pretty much was talking about this Diamondback team. They won 7 straight here against the Phillies, and Bailey Falter will be on the mound for Philadelphia. ERA over 4.4, 6% walks, but he's having trouble with the home runs here. 2.12 home runs per 9 innings, 29% ground ball rate, 21% strikeout rate. That means 50% in the air, and a FIP of 5.49. That's scary there. So I'm going to be here on this Diamondbacks team. We've been hot here. They've been hitting left-handers over the past 10 games here at 288, and the Phillies bullpen has had their struggles. That'll be my play here for the drive-thru, guys. Check out Pick Dogs Premium tonight, as I've got plays up there for you. I do have a $15 premium play up there. Matter of fact, I will make it available because I had it. My 3-pack went off, and I've got my $15 premium pick. I've hit my last 2, so check it out right now over at Pick Dogs. Get on board. I am the number 2 unit producer over at Pick Dogs for 2022 in Major League Baseball, so get signed up. Don't forget, AUG15 promo is good here for the final few hours here because it's an August promotion. So on all the long-term passes, you get my 3, 7, or 30-day all sports pass there with that OG15 promo, so get signed up there. And I do have my $15 premium play, so get signed up. My long-term pass is $3, $7, $30 sports pass. You get all my plays for that period of time. You go to my handicapper page and make that purchase. Of course, 2-for-1 capper promotion. You can always add a second capper. Right, that'll do it for a night show. We'll be back again here tomorrow. Actually, I'll put the recap up there in case you guys missed some of the games. There are still some games that haven't started yet. I like that Red Sox game there. We've got the Cubs just said Mets game is started. Angels here plus 165 with the D-backs in my pick, as you know there. So still some plays there that we did. But we did get the recap in right before the top of the hour. So guys, check out Pick Dogs. Remember, every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, it's the morning show. You have Mitch and Chris together in that morning show, even on weekends. As you can see, we're gathering more handicappers for those weekend shows. The big football shows are coming up on the weekend at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so make sure you guys tune in for those. Also, the video series up there, Mitch's 7 picks in 5 minutes. Ron Ramanelli's rundown from Major League Baseball. Every pick, every rundown from every game, every day from Ron Ramanelli. You got Javon with his parlay. And, of course, we're going to hit the weekend here with MMA. And, of course, we've got Brad and Mills with their MMA show immediately following the morning show on Saturday. So make sure you tune in. And, of course, you want to set those notifications, subscribe, so whenever anyone's live or these videos drop, you get notified. All right, that'll do it here for this edition of the Drive Thru. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow live at 6 Eastern Time. We'll do it all over again. We'll bring in our cappers here from Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Place, and they'll give out live free picks. There'll be a lot of college football on the show tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. We got that Saturday card ready to roll here for you guys. The Thursday card. We'll have a lot of college football from that card, so make sure you tune in again on Thursday to the Drive Thru. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our crew for tonight. We're going to wave goodbye to you guys. You guys have yourself a great evening. We'll talk with you guys again tomorrow live at